1. When I get out of here, we'll get married on the farm where I spent my happy childhood, over at the foot of the mountains. You'll wear my mother's dress and veil, and I'm not saying this because I'm feeling sentimental. It's not the morphine speaking. You'll have my family's lace, crystal, silver, jewels, and name at your disposal. You'll give orders to the servants, ride my late wife's horse. And if there's still no electricity on the farm, I'll have a generator installed so you can watch TV. There'll also be air conditioning in every room of the farmhouse, because it's very hot on the coastal flats these days. I don't know if it's always been so, if my ancestors sweated under all those clothes. My wife sweated a lot, but she was of a new generation and didn't have my mother's austerity. My wife liked the sun and always came back glowing from afternoons on the sands of Copacabana. But our chalet there has been knocked down, and in any case I wouldn't live with you in a house from a previous marriage. We'll live on the farm at the foot of the mountains. We'll marry in the chapel that was consecrated by the Cardinal Archbishop of Rio de Janeiro in 1800 and something. On the farm, you'll look after me and no one else, so that I'll make a complete recovery. And we'll plant trees and write books and, God willing, raise children on my grandfather's land. But if you don't like the foot of the mountains because of the tree toads and the insects or the distance or anything else, we could live in Botafogo, in the mansion my father built. It has huge bedrooms, marble bathrooms with bidets, several drawing rooms with Venetian mirrors and statues, monumentally high ceilings and slate-roof tiles imported from France. There are palm, avocado, and almond trees in the garden, which became a parking lot after the Danish embassy moved to Brasilia. The Danes bought the mansion from me for a song because of the mess my son-in-law made of things. But if I decide to sell the farm, with its 2,000 acres of crops and pastures, divided by a stream whose water is safe to drink, perhaps I could buy back the mansion in Botafogo, restore the mahogany furniture, have my mother's player piano tuned. I'll have things to tinker with for years on end, and if you wish to continue working, you'll be able to walk to work, as there are plenty of hospitals and private practices nearby. In fact, they built an 18-story medical center on our land, which reminds me, the mansion isn't there anymore. And come to think of it, I think they expropriated the farm at the foot of the mountains in 1947 for the highway. I'm thinking out loud so you can hear me, and I'm speaking slowly, as if I were writing so you can transcribe it for me without having to be a stenographer. Are you there? The soap opera, the news, and the film are all over. I don't know why they leave the TV on after the broadcast is finished. It must be so the static will drown out my voice, and I won't bother the other patients with my rambling. But there are only grown men here, almost all of them rather deaf. If there were elderly ladies nearby, I'd be more discreet. For example, I would never mention the little whores hunkering down in hysterics as my father tossed 5-franc coins onto the floor of his suite at the Ritz. There he'd be, concentrating deeply, while the naked cocottes squatted there like frogs, trying to pick the coins off the rug without using their fingers. He would send the winner down to my room with me, and back in Brazil he would assure my mother I was making good progress with the language. At home, as in all good homes, family affairs were dealt with in French when in the presence of the servants, though for Mother even asking me to pass the salt was a family affair. And even then she spoke in metaphors, because in those days even your average nurse spoke a little.